My name is Hakeem Brown, and I can't breathe.
Hakeem and Reggie Brown are two young black boys. They were so upset with the current situation in the world, they started their own podcast. They grew up in the suburbs until their parents got divorced. They were homeless, living in the streets. Now they live in the ghetto with their grandmother. This is their story. This is Pop City Culture.
I'm your host. My name is Hakeem Brown. I'm 13 years old.
My name is Reggie Brown, and I'm 11 years old, and I'm a hood rat.
Okay, Reggie,
Our
you
daddy
ain't
don't
gotta
know
be
we got a
saying all that
podcast,
stuff.
but fuck him. What he don't know don't hurt him. That's right.
Anyways, Reggie, there's some tragic news. May
Well, let's
5th,
get to it.
2020, George Floyd, an African American, died. He was actually murdered on video.
Oh man, that's
Let
terrible.
me tell you what happened about the whole situation.
Go on.
George Floyd went into a store, allegedly handed the store clerk a counterfeit bill.
I think they said it was a
The
20.
store clerk called the police. Mr. Floyd went out to his car to wait. Now, all of this happened in Minneapolis. The police showed up. Mr. Floyd was in his car.
That's
and there's
what
a
I heard.
difference in the story of what happened after
Yeah,
that.
what exactly
The
happened?
body cam shows the police officers pulling Mr. Floyd out the car,
Oh no.
whereas the police statement said they didn't.
Uh-oh,
In any case,
got some issues.
One of the officers had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck while on the ground.
It was on his neck for 8 minutes, 46 seconds.
Mr. Floyd was screaming, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe."
He also said, "Don't kill me."
3 other cops stood by at the scene doing nothing. They actually watched everything going on.
now that's
Didn't
terrible.
do a damn thing.
That ain't even right. They should be doing their
4
job.
days later, May 29th, 2020, the cop who had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck was arrested and charged with
Good.
third-degree murder.
That's when the shit began.
That's right. The shot rang around the world. The voices could not be silent any longer.
Couldn't be silent.
Last night, riots all over the United States broke out.
Unbelievable.
It was
We're
on
both
every
watching.
network, on social media, and people were talking. They couldn't believe what they were seeing.
I couldn't believe
It was out of control.
Really out of control.
Now, here's the question for the podcast today. Why and what is the state of America?
It ain't that good.
So, Reggie, what do you think is going on in the world?
It's fucked up, that's what's going on.
Can you be
Cops
more
beating
specific?
down black people. It just ain't right.
Of course it's not right.
Well, you
but-
know, the riots were off the hook. I was watching it. Man, Rodeo
Oh,
Drive was mad
you
sick.
didn't just go
Niggas
there.
loading up their cars to
Come
the
on.
max, stealing. Cops scared.
Oh, here we go.
Shit, I never
Here we
seen
go.
nothing like it.
So what, Reggie? Do you think that's a good thing?
Hakeem, no, I don't think it's a good thing. I'm just telling you what I saw. Shit was off the hook and going down mad. I couldn't believe
You
it.
sound like you're happy, Reggie.
No, I'm not happy, but that's what they call ghetto justice.
That's a crime, don't you think, Reggie?
No, it's not a crime. It's only a crime when you're stealing.
Reggie, it was stealing. These are people who make their livelihood in their shops. They employ a lot of people. Don't you think there's something wrong with that?
Come on, Hakeem. The government's been doing this shit for years now. We want to do it, and it's a crime? Nigga, please. You got people investigating the upper man stealing, and nothing's happening. Banks busting everybody, and the government bailing them out. Politicians do insider trading, but when Martha Stewart gets advice from somebody, they throw her ass in jail. Man, I'm telling you, shit happens, and shit is happening. People are pissed, and we want justice.
Come on. Do you really think that's justice, Reggie? Huh? Justice by breaking into stores, stealing all this mad stuff? Somebody's got to pay for it. Insurance is going to go up. This is really going to hurt the black community. It's like burning down your own house because you're upset.
Come on, man. You know as well as I do, the black man's got a target on their back. Every time we walk out the door, it's like there's a gun pointing at us. I'm scared to just go to the store. I'm scared to do anything because I'll be stopped and frisked. And why?
I don't know, Hakeem. Why don't you tell me?
Because I'm a black man. What you think? Hakeem,
Reggie, you
come
can't
on.
use your color as an excuse for everything.
Well, everybody else use something for something. Come on. And every day, black people be getting killed by a system that's fucked up.
What system's that?
Hakeem, there's nothing worse than false hope. African Americans have seen this shit in the past with no results.
What shit?
Come on. Cops shooting niggas every day. It just ain't right. It ain't fair. Don't you think people get desensitized from this stuff? I mean, when you're black, it's like you're born with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Every time I walk out the house, I'm shaking. Every time I get on the bus, every time I go in a store, I feel like I'm being followed. It just ain't right. It's just something the way it is, man. It's the way it is in the ghetto.
But buildings are burning, Reggie. People are stealing. Fires are in the streets. That's chaos. That's not order.
Well, I don't see no one on TV offering a solution. They just catching niggas looping some cheese and they be getting ratings. That's all they really care about. The news, ratings. As long as they can tell bad news, it's good news.
Well, come on. The media? You're going to blame everything on the media?
A lot of it is the media. Come on, you gotta be straight up, don't you think? But right now, niggas just wanna be heard. Anyone else who murdered somebody on video like that, they would have been arrested on the spot. And then you go to jail for 72 hours holding. And then you gotta prove your innocence. Are you serious? And when it came to this cop who murdered Mr. Floyd, it took 4 days to get anything done. Don't you think there's something wrong with that kind of system?
Well, obviously there's something wrong if it's 4 days the way you put it. But the system's trying to work. It can't work overnight.
Hakeem, they had 50 years to fix this system. Don't you think?
Well, isn't it good that a black man became president?
Just because one black man gets ahead, you gotta remember all the ones that are left behind. No one cares about what happens in the ghetto. And the bottom line is, I think they just want to get rid of us.
There is a get rid of us mentality now? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, obviously, with all the drugs and all the shootings and the mayhem, do you have a solution, Hakeem?
Well, I don't have a real solution. I got some ideas.
Well, what are they?
Well, we could do a better job recruiting cops. Do a psychological analysis on them when they want to become a cop. So we know they're thinking right, their brains are on straight.
Yeah, that sounds good. What else you got?
Well, I guess we could have a police review board where everybody could be evaluated every couple months just to see how they're doing. See if there's any real complaints, but people got to speak up too against a lot of the cops.
Well, when they do, look what happens.
Well, what do you mean?
Come on, Mr. Floyd was murdered. He was on the ground. A knee was in his throat. Can you imagine if Mr. Floyd had stood up and beat the shit out of that cop? Then he would have been shot. Then he would have been in the wrong. Either way, there ain't no winning in this system. The system's rigged. You're damned if you do, and you die when you don't. That's just the way it is. You saw it right there on video. You telling me you can't agree with that?
Well, you know what? The way you put it, I guess there could be some truth to it. I mean, I don't have no real solutions. I'm just telling you what I think could happen. Better training, police review.
Bullshit. Man, police review board? That's like putting a fox in charge of the hen house.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Foxes eat hens, don't you think? So why the fuck would you want to put a fox in charge of a hen house? Now you're saying you want the police to police themselves? That's fucked up. That's idiotic, man. Hakeem, that's stupid. It's an all-boys club. Everybody knows it.
Sometimes it is the way it is, but you gotta start somewhere.
And we've been trying to start for years, but shit ain't never get done. So you wonder why people be looting, hooting, robbing, stealing, putting fires up all over the place? And the riots, this is what's going on. We're trying to get our voice heard.
But by doing all this stuff, are you serious?
Well, that's the only way we can get heard, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. You know, there are peaceful ways. Do you think Martin Luther King would have did something like this?
No, but Martin Luther King never had to live in 2020. Martin Luther King was living in the 60s. It might have been a little better then.
You think Martin Luther King had it better then?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's real shitty times right now.
Well, we need another Martin Luther King then, don't you think? Somebody to do peaceful stuff. Somebody who can be the voice of the community. But I don't know if you can say it was easier back then, because I've seen videos of black people with dogs being sicked on them, fire hoses being sprayed at them, cops using their battalions beating them down. I don't know if it was that good back then.
Hakeem, the problem is a lot of things. Poverty, jobs. We're in the ghetto and there's no real response when you call the po-po. It's like they don't want to come here to help us.
Yeah, I know, but you know, you gotta treat people with respect to get respect too, Reggie.
You know, I'm not saying every cop is bad, because every cop is not bad.
It's just a few, and we see it on video.
Yeah, but when the good cops don't stand up against the bad cops, don't you think they just as guilty? I mean, let's face it. If a girl was being attacked in broad daylight and everybody was standing around, everybody would be just as guilty. But those cops with the badges were standing around as another cop had his knee in the brother's neck and he died. They're supposed to be held to a higher standard just because they got a badge and uphold the law. They weren't protecting and serving none of us. They were protecting and serving their own interest. That's what I'm saying. People are upset about that. Things need to change. But I don't know if it's going to change, because we've seen stuff like this over and over and over for years. Don't you see what I'm saying, Hakeem?
Yes, Reggie, I see what you're saying. I see exactly what you're saying. But we have to have some kind of a forum. I was thinking maybe, just maybe, if they had a peaceful protest like a parade and they marched down to City Hall and all the politicians or representatives were there, sitting there listening, and we could actually get stuff done. And maybe citizens could be elected or appointed to be the middleman between everybody to make sure it gets done. And you got to hold their feet to the fire, because you're right. These are tough times. Stuff's got to get done.
Yeah, but every time a brother hears a siren, they get scared. I'm telling you, it's that post-traumatic stress disorder stuff. We're just born with it. It's like it's in our blood. And we shouldn't feel like that.
No, you're right. We shouldn't feel like that. We should feel like the cops are here to help us and protect us. So I guess maybe we can start there. We have to change the perception of the police. Don't you think? Isn't that a good thing?
Well, yeah, I guess we could start there.
Well, I'm glad we can agree on something. So, Reggie and everybody, all my listeners, I want to have some final words of wisdom, and here it goes. There's a moral meltdown and spiritual breakdown in America. Black people have been conditioned. We don't sit in the back of buses. We keep silent. We don't have police dogs attack us. We attack our own with jealousy and drugs. We don't like white people calling us the N-word because it's hateful, ugly, and disgusting. It's a disgusting word. This is true. It's been that way all through history. But we use it and embrace it, being hypocritical, using it in music, calling women hoes and niggas and every other word in the book. We black people have been conditioned. We need to wake up. But maybe here's a small solution. Black people who peacefully protest have to step up and take a stand against the rioters and looters. And the white people must do the same against public officials and those who oppress all other people. We must come together on the same page and realize we only have one life, one community. We must make a difference. We must make a stand. Only then can we come together and make a change. I am Hakeem with my brother Reggie. Thank you for listening to Pop City Culture.
Yo, hold up, Hakeem. We gotta give some shout-outs right now. We gotta give a shout-out to Price Van Ray, who helped produce this episode. He's also an author. He wrote the Gay Book about a young black boy, 11 years old, growing up in the early 1970s in the ghetto. and how he has to deal with oppression, racism, and homophobia. Thank you, Price Van Ray, for everything you've done for us. Now you can continue, Hakeem.
Be safe and make a difference. See you next time. Now go do the right thing.